That's weird.
Either that was just all my machines suddenly downloading the Patch Tuesday updates.
Yes, they've just come through, haven't they? I'll send the link out anyways. And then we can...
Where are we?
Sounds like you had a fun day then, Gary.
I had a very fun day. It was really good. The first session I went to, I was talking to the head of sales for Microsoft devices in the UK, and suddenly he liked me and started showing me things.
You turned on the old Gary Whittaker charm, did you?
I did, yeah. Well, the book didn't help, it didn't harm things, and in fact, I had some good contacts in the States last week, so I could drop names and things. That didn't help, it didn't harm people. But I think I can actually talk about the Lumia stuff, the OS stuff, because he did that in a public forum with lots of other people around. So
well,
I don't think it's NDA on that.
Well, the stream just started off, so let's jump in then. So it's like, Gary and Jason, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome back to the UK.
Yeah, I had a really good week last week, and I've had a good week this week as well. It's been to Future Decoded today, which has been fun in London.
Yeah, I saw that on the news, actually. I think, wasn't it, that Satya Nadella was here in the UK today, and he was doing sort of various tours and things. So was he there today at the keynote?
He was, yeah. He gave a quite good little keynote.
Yeah.
The whole mobile first, cloud first world. Which I mean, to be fair, they've done a really good job of selling that today. How the cloud integrates with mobile, and how the cloud integrates with mobility more than mobile, because I think that's the thing you have to remember with this. It's mobility first, not mobile first, effectively. So it's not they're not talking about mobile phones when they say that. They're talking about mobility of experience rather than mobility of device.
Yeah,
which is quite an important thing to get, and I don't think a lot of people do get that yet. But so this is so mobility experience is why we've got all these apps on non-app Microsoft platforms. I did like the way that the first thing that Satya actually demonstrated was an iPhone with the Office apps on, and he said, "This is an iPhone Pro because it's got Microsoft Office on it." So I thought that was quite good.
So an Apple writing that down, right? Oh yeah.
And then he showed off the experiences on the Windows Phone, on Windows Phone 10 as well. So that was all good fun. There's some really good keynote stuff. The exhibition is really good. They're demonstrating not only if they've got the 950 and 950 XL for you to get your hands on and play with, they've got Continuum for you to play with. They've got the Surface Pro and the Surface Book now. Unfortunately, anybody listening to this show, it's too late to go because it's fully booked now anyway. but if you're going tomorrow, which will be after this show comes out, very confusingly, it's going to be a good experience.
Excellent. So yeah, it sounds like there's some good stuff there. So so what can you tell us? So you got to play on with the 950s?
Yeah, I got to play with the 950, 950 XL and Continuum. Obviously, Continuum I played with before, but Continuum worked brilliantly. We have to remember it is, although they say it's the full desktop experience, it's actually the phone running in desktop mode. So your start menu is your phone start menu. And all the apps which you can run are the apps you've got on your phone, but they scale to the full desktop version. So if you've got the Office apps, you get the full Office. The Mail app works way better in desktop mode. I think actually the Mail app from the phone somehow is better than the Mail app on the desktop version.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm sure they'll get that sorted out eventually. But everything seems to Groove Music's scaled up and slightly different experience again to the desktop. So I think there's some tweaks to be had. But it worked really well and so quick. And we demonstrated the whole idea of a phone call coming in at the same time as doing Continuum. That works really well. I mean, the 950 XL is just so quick. I think having that octa-core processor, but particularly having the amount of RAM it's got in it, is really impressive.
Yeah, I think you're right, because that's the real limitation on this little 630 is that RAM, I think. And I think the 950 is so much better specs than even my 1520.
And also, one thing they were saying is that virtually every mobile phone they've made up now, they've had to throttle the processors back because of heat distribution. Because the 950 XL has the same cooling technologies in the Surface Pro 4, they're not doing that. It's running at full belt. So you're actually getting it. It does seem a leap up. I've been debating 950 against 950 XL. I think it will have to be a 950 XL because the process, the leaping speed is so much more than just the processor up rate would suggest.
I knew you'd come round to my size of phone
Oh,
eventually.
I wish I could get 950, that processor in a 950 size, but you can't. So
Once you've gone that one onto that screen size, you won't want to go back on.
yeah, well, there is something to say for that.
Especially as you've got that middle tap, isn't it? The Windows key, so it slides everything down.
Yeah, but that's good. And I also got to. They were demonstrating this with a new build of Windows Mobile. So this is actually not an insider build. It's one of the internal builds Microsoft got, and I have to say that was slick. I mean, compared to, I think the build we've currently got is pretty good, but that was so much better. Because I've seen the current insider build on 950 XL before, so it wasn't just the processor speed. It was just really everything seemed to work right. The animations worked right. The look worked right. Some subtle tweaks to the UI, fixes. They were storing stuff on the storage SD card, so that must be fixed. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. I think I said this to Jason earlier. I think we're on that same cycle we were on with Windows 10 near the end, where we were a few months back effectively to what you had internally, and then suddenly they released all the internal builds and we shoot up. They were also saying the upgrade process is a lot easier with this last couple of builds they've had internally as well. So really impressive stuff. I still feel that this isn't the phone that they want to make. But I think it will do until they get the Surface phone out, whatever they get next year. But I think it's definitely better. And Continuum is such an interesting experience, and with the dock, it just really works really well. So I certainly see that. I still want to see someone bring a tablet-sized dock for the 950. So that's all I have to carry.
Yeah, that'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? With a bit its own battery supply or something like that. So you can.
I mean, you could imagine something like the Surface Pro 4 screen, which is really thin. So you could use that potentially with some sort of just dock on the back of it. That'd be quite cool. Or maybe even just a roll-up screen you can carry around with you. That's always possible these days. So there's lots of possibilities, but definitely, I mean, the principle is there. It works. It is genuine. There wasn't anything they wouldn't let us play with, so it definitely works. I was using Word, Excel, Mail, PowerPoint, and PowerPoint's the full fidelity with all the animations, all the modern animations and everything on it. I
mean, that's pretty good. You go and doing a presentation. All you really need to do is take the phone and the dock in your bag, and that's you done, isn't it? Then. I lost it.
I think I've lost you.
You lost me?
I think you're back now. Are you back now?
Yes, I'm back.
So you just went silent here at this end for some reason.
I was just to say, for doing presentations, you just need to take the dock and your phone, and that's you're done, isn't it? You don't really need to carry a lot of kit around with you.
Well, the other thing which is really good for, is hotel room experience.
Mm.
If you've got an HDMI TV, plug it in the back of that, and you've got a full video player concept, because obviously the whole movies and telly, as we like to call it, film and telly works really well. That full screen HDMI.
Yeah, you've got a BBC store.
Yeah,
Netflix.
I was going to say the experience on the HDMI is brilliant because it is the full resolution, but it's also got the full audio as well. So you've got the full 5.1 stereo going out of it. So it's a very good experience.
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I pre-ordered one, so December.
What is it about this pre-orders? Because that's one of the big bits of news today, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I've figured it out. But Jason, you did you see something about this?
Yeah, I saw Michael Gillett was tweeting. I think he was there with you today, Gary. I don't know if you saw him, but
sit next to him in the keynote.
And he tweeted the fact that pre-orders would be opening. I think was it this late next week? I think.
Yeah.
And that the.
Sorry, go ahead, Jace, because you.
Yeah, and that the previous pre-order that temporarily opened it was actually a mistake and was never meant to go. That pre-order process was never meant to go live at that point. So, I think you managed to sneak in there, Ian.
Yeah, I think so, because I double checked today. I thought, did I go mad? Did I dream? I did this, and I checked, and it's still there, out, processing order, and
Yeah.
So
3rd of December.
what price have you got it for?
529.
So have you seen that Amazon have actually dropped the price?
Yes, but they had originally had it at 7 something, didn't they? And then
It's now under 500, but there's no statement on there. It definitely comes to the dock. So that's a slight risk.
yeah, I think so. So I think for now, well, you can't cancel it. There's no cancel option anyway on the orders page. So
Not the pre-order. You can cancel the pre-order as soon as it turns into an order.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, God knows what happens even with the Microsoft's payment system. It's never been the best, has it? So
yeah. Well, it's not. Let's be fair to Microsoft. It's not Microsoft.
No,
but perhaps they ought to change their contracts by now.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't get too excited about a pre-order on the Microsoft Store, because they always, even since going back to the the Surface RT days, they're still messing up pre-orders.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Ginny on Twitter, she had, amongst many others, that she had her Surface Book order cancelled because they tried to take a second payment, which her card flagged up as fraudulent, and they just cancelled the orders. And that's exactly what happened with the Surface RT and the Surface Pro launch about 4 or 5 years ago now.
Yeah, I think it happened to you, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It happened. I mean, it happened to me even with the Surface 2 launch. I had the Surface Pro 2 order that I placed, had that cancelled.
Yeah.
And you just think by now they'd have this working, but I mean, Ginny's quite lucky. She's obviously got contacts at Microsoft, and they're trying to get her a device much quicker. But if you're just Joe Public and you're keen to get your hands on a device, to have the order cancelled, then go to the back of the queue and maybe looking at a 2-month wait, it's just you'd just go and buy something else.
I mean, I actually got emailed because if you go on the site now to pre-order, it says email me when available, and for a while it had that, and then I got an email saying it's available to order. So that's when. But I think Gary, it was Gary or you, Jason, had to tell me as we were recording, weren't you, that the store link was live, and that's when I ordered.
Yeah, well, I think it's when you were recording when I was away, I think.
Yeah.
And actually, I got that email, but didn't see it until the evening. And by the time I clicked on the link, it was back to, we'll let you know when it's ready.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens at 3rd of December when actually one turns up.
Yeah.
But they've took the payment. They've done the reserve payment or whatever they do. Obviously not took the whole payment, so it's like a reserve payment system, like they used to do. So we'll see, and of course they've done that with the band as well. So I wasn't really planning to get both.
You haven't got a Surface Pro 4 shipping in 2 days, then?
No, I haven't. No. Maybe when we get these huge royalty checks from the book, that'll be the next.
Well, apparently sales are good, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the trade-ins are pretty good on the Microsoft Store site. You can get pretty good cash back on the Surface 2.
So you can make a penny instantly on the Microsoft Store. You buy your band at $69.99 and you trade it in for £70.
Yeah, I was thinking about mine because my band one is brand new. It's only about a week old. So from when I sent it back, the other one back, so it's in good condition. But I think I'll probably keep mine. So that I've got to go on the shelf in my other Microsoft products with my Surface RT. But I think you can get $350 for an iPad, $250 for a Surface 2, isn't it? I think, or even a Surface RT, you get a bit of a buyback, don't you?
Yeah, so I think I mean, if you don't need those devices anymore, I still think if you're prepared to put up with the hassle, you probably get more for them selling them via, an online auction site. But if all you want this, because they send you the packaging and everything, so you literally, send it in and job done, and you haven't got to worry about somebody maybe trying to rip you off or, claim they never received the device. So I think there's some good value out there. Yeah,
so I'm really looking forward to the 950. I mean, really, it was the 950 or an Nexus 6, and as much as I like the Android apps that are, the odd ones that are missing, like the better apps like the BBC iPlayer app, I just don't want to go back to Android. So what I'd like to see is people like iPlayer get themselves into gear and release a proper Windows 10 universal app. I mean, the BBC Store player, I mean, okay, it's not the most advanced functionality, but it works great on the phone. It works great on Lumia. On the Surface. It works great on my little tablets. So I just hope the same team that did that are working on iPlayer, but I believe it's not the same people. So whether it'll happen, I don't know.
And you have to remember, they're two different parts of the Beeb.
Yeah,
And very different parts these days with the separation. So one's BBC worldwide, and the other one's the BBC UK stuff. So I think it's an interesting precedent, because I've had a huge number of downloads of that app. So that might actually make people sit up and think.
Yeah. I'm very disappointed actually that especially with the US. I mean, I know the US sites are US focused, but the big tech sites. But I mean, most of them didn't even mention that it launched the Windows 10 app.
No, I mean, some of them did. There were a few of them which actually said.
But Microsoft didn't even.
No.
I mean, I know it's a UK, very specific UK thing, but I think it's a start of an international rollout. But on the US, on the the Windows Experience blog, they're always posting US only stories on there. Yeah. So why not you post a success story of one of the biggest broadcasters in the world choose the Windows 10 Universal App Platform as its first target?
Yeah.
Mm.
And I did, tweet Brandon LeBlanc and said, "Look, have you ever seen this?" And he just said, "No, I can't use it." So, and that was it. And I'm sure the BBC could have, sent them a few screenshots if they'd ask or something like that. And then I believe the BBC didn't mention it on their press release either. But it's just a shame that a significant, one of the biggest broadcasters in the world chooses the Universal App Platform, and no one talks about it. Does it exist if no one talks about it, kind of thing? but it's a brilliant app. It works really well. It does the job. It does the job great, and there's a great selection of content on there. And I just wish the iPlayer app was done by the same people. I'd be very happy then. I'll give you a little tip as well, listeners. One of the things that they haven't done is released an Xbox app, which I presume when we get the Windows 10 store, we'll get in the Xbox. Then that app will be compatible because it's a universal app. But currently, obviously, it's not there. But the Edge DLNA casting works fine for it. So if you want to watch anything you could purchase on the BBC store on your Xbox or on your smart TV or whatever, just use you need the insider preview build of Windows 10. So if you got whatever the latest, the update is when that comes out, whatever it's called, then you can just use the Cast 2 and stream that content, and it works fine.
That's good. I like that.
Did I see a tweet from Richard Hay today saying that the Universal app isn't included with what will launch as the Windows 10 new Xbox experience?
Yes, I believe so. And it's not in
it's coming later in the year, I think, or early next year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think they haven't mentioned the app for a while, have they?
No, so I suspect for now that iPlayer, sorry, the BBC Store Universal app wouldn't run on the Xbox as it stands right now, but
yeah,
hopefully that won't be too far away, and I'm sure as people on the Xbox preview program will probably get access to that first.
Yeah, and of course BBC have got their iPlayer app on the Xbox anyway. So they could add it. BBC could add it. With the cooperation of Microsoft.
Yes, yeah.
But I did ask them. I asked the BBC app, BBC Store, I think it is, if they were planning to release it on Xbox, and they said not at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be all tied up with what we were saying. But I think it's good. But I was just a bit disappointed that Microsoft didn't, trump it. And I know that, like I said, I know the Windows. They're a US company with a US focus, but surely a big win like that would be worth a blog post.
Yeah, you would have thought so. Yeah, especially when they're trying to get momentum up for their new desktop/mobile platform, and to have a big application like that to be available instantly on day one, it's kind of what we dream of, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Windows phone users. So
I had to double check 3 times to find I wasn't misreading things to realize they got Windows platform first. And I believe one of the developers actually follows me on Twitter, but they must, with their development contract, I guess they're not allowed to say. So
Yeah, they're pretty tight.
Yeah.
I noticed when we were talking about it about whether, because I think when the news broke, Ian, you tweeted out, I wonder if there'll be a Windows app for this, and I said I'll bet you there won't be, and then I think JT Bennett tweeted me saying I'll take that bet, and then quickly deleted that tweet. So it certainly disappeared from my timeline pretty quickly. So I suspect,
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Anyway, I'm pleased to see that, but I mean that's just one of the nice things, and that works really well on the. It works on the 630 with the offline playback and everything else. So that's I'll be able to stick that on the 950 XL and along with everything else. But we've no new build of that yet, have we, this week? So do you think we'll get a new Windows 10 mobile build this week?
It's certainly gone very quiet, hasn't it? I mean, I really thought we'd see a flurry of builds, like we did towards the end of the Windows 10 timeframe. But
I think we will, but I think now it will be a flurry. There'll be a gap, then a flurry. That's what happened to Windows 10. So I think that's probably what we're like to see. I mean, there are obviously a couple of builds ahead of where we are now anyway, so I would expect to see them fairly shortly.
I saw, I think it was Tom Warren was saying that build 10.586 has been compiled for Windows 10 mobile, and that's expected to be the release version. Because I know the Xbox experience for something on the preview program is that same build.
And that's what the desktop is, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. Actually, Gabe's just tweeted to say no build news to share today.
Oh.
My friend Gabe.
Yes.
My highlight of last week is I had Gabe's phone in my hand. Open on his Twitter feed. How I had.
Oh, you didn't push the button. Come on, Gary.
I've also seen the button, but I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say to you, when you were there today and you got to play with the 950, I'm disappointed you didn't go into the settings and about screen.
Yeah. That's the one thing they were being a bit cautious over.
Yes, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. So with no build today, maybe we'll get on. They seem to like Thursdays at the moment.
Yep.
It seemed to be a popular day.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll get one on Thursday, and I'd like a nice new build to play with. And the hands-on videos are really popular on YouTube. The mobile builds are more popular than the desktop builds. So now whether that's just the way that YouTube's surfacing my videos, I don't know, but it's interesting that that's the case. So I think, like you go, this latest build is quite polished. I'm very tempted to put it on my 1520. Apart from two things that hold me off. One is in case there's some upgrade issue type bugs that we've seen plenty of. So I'm a bit cautious of that. And two, I'm quite almost waiting to see what it's like on the 950. That I'd be quite happy if that was my first experience of the sort of finished build rather than the 630 that I'm using. But I may capitulate before that happens and get that on there, especially if 10.586 comes along, because I'm pretty sure that's the release version. If that comes out on the insider preview, then I might just stick that on.
Yeah, I'm also kind of in two minds. So I've resisted the temptation to put the last build on, but yeah, as you say, if the kind of you kind of in quotes the RTM build comes out to insiders, then I might struggle to resist putting that on. But also at the same time, I kind of don't want to be an early adopter. I think with desktop it's different. You can just wipe and go back to Windows 7, but with a phone, I think it's a bit more. There's that kind of bit higher risk. So I don't know if I'll wait, maybe see how long the actual official release takes to come down to my phone, and then maybe jump the queue in a month's time when all the issues have been worked out.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting decisions, isn't it? It's not that far away. I mean, if the 950s are coming out in the next about 3 weeks' time in the States, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
No, it's not that far away at all.
Yeah, and I really hope there isn't the lead time between, or the delay between launching the States and launching the UK is quite long, isn't it? And
yeah, but it'll be stock. I mean, there is actually some rumour that they may, but there's lots of rumours going around at the moment. The only thing I've got concrete was someone actually on stage today said Windows 10 Mobile will be out before the end of this month.
Yeah.
So that's the only real confidence I've got. But whether the 950s will be out before the end of the month, even in the States, I know there's the launch date's been sort of publicly talked about, but there's some rumours about AT&T going back on that, and I don't know. It's all sorts of things buzzing around at the moment. So, taking everything with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, because there has been quite a few. I mean, there's talk about Windows 10 Mobile being launched on the 12th alongside the new Xbox experience, although not then shipping to existing handsets until kind of December, maybe kind of January, February timeframe for some of the other devices. So it seems a bit strange if they're releasing that in 2 days' time, albeit obviously people won't be able to officially download and install it. That insiders haven't had it to kind of get extra telemetry back.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so there's the prediction that they release it on. They released the 586 version on Thursday, and that's the final version. And they'll just release it as an insider build, like they did with 10.2.40, and never told anybody it was a release version. Possibly. And how will we know? Because the clue last week, Jason, you said the clue will be in the watermark, but that doesn't happen on the phones.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think. I mean, they definitely very much don't like to talk about, whether or not these are release builds. They're never even really released. Talked about the Windows 10 release on the 29th of July as being an RTM build. Really do not like using that phrase, but yeah, with the 10.586 build that got released to insiders on the desktop, the watermarks disappeared and all the branding's there in terms of the threshold 2. 15.11 release. So I think there would be signs that it is the RTM release, but like I say, they really do not like to talk about it in that way.
So let's talk about that then. So last week we predicted that there would be a release. I think I predicted correctly. I'm sure I predicted correctly that there would be a build this week. But I remember you said whether there's a watermark or not will be whether it's going to be the release version. And as you said, there's no watermark, and so this does look like the release version. So have either of you tried this new build?
Yes, I have. I mean, I think I mentioned I ended up jumping the gun and actually installing one of the previous insider builds on my Surface Pro 3 just because I'd read so many good things about it and really wanted to get my hands on the updated start menu layout. So since I was already on that build, I figured I might as well make the leap once I started seeing reports that it was potentially the release version, because I'd actually switched to the slow ring to avoid getting updates that I didn't want. But then I switched back to the fast ring and downloaded and installed it. And I have to say, I kind of said how stable the July 29th release was, but this has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it totally rocks. That's solid, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, sleep, just all the little niggles I had, which were never big things, but it just feels really. This feels like a release version, and as stable as the July 29th release was, it almost makes that look like another preview build. It's that different. And it's funny, I was using the Mail app today and I realized that stealthily it's actually become really usable. It's kind of very silently and very slowly evolved over time. And obviously having put the Windows Insider build onto my Surface Pro 3, it meant I got access to the insider builds of the Mail app. And it definitely feels. I mean, I haven't seen for a while that you need to re-authenticate your account message for a while. It seems to be, updating in the background. I keep getting notifications really quite reliably. So yeah, it's looking really good.
Yeah, Gary, you good experience with yours?
Oh yeah, I upgraded the main machine as usual. I had none of that problems with Edge and closing, because Edge got a huge upgrade. If you actually look at the version number of Edge, it jumped.
Yeah, it did actually. I did check that. Yeah,
several versions, and that's been
it's gone from version 12 something to version 13. But that's the first time that major incremental version since Edge came out.
Yeah, exactly, and you can tell. I mean, it's a lot stabler. I don't get the lockups when I'm trying to close Edge. I have to say I'm really happy with it. I think it seems a really good release, and obviously needs to be for the one which is actually going out to the public. And obviously, Jason, if you had stuck on the slow ring, you'd have it by now, because they've been
Yes.
as well.
Yes, although no ISOs yet.
No, a couple of days.
If I remember rightly, they didn't release the ISOs with the July 29th release when we got that early either.
I think they'll come out when they actually release.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's another hint that this could be the release.
Yeah. I mean, yes, this build has definitely been really good. I've got it on my Encore 8, my Link 7, and a test machine at work, and it's all working really well. I'm glad to say they fixed the issue with Edge when you start it from the start menu.
Yep.
Which Jason said was a feature. They fixed that now, so it's all working very nicely here on my tablet, and it still has that issue of the driver where it uses a newer but worse experienced driver in certain circumstances. So, for example, the Encore 8, the newer audio driver, Intel audio driver, doesn't actually have sound on it, which is a bit of an issue with sound drivers. So you've got to manually select an earlier driver, and that's fine. And my test machine at work uses an Intel graphics chip, and it uses a August driver, which has a maximum resolution of 640 by 480 or something like that. Yeah. So you put it back to the January one and it's fine. So that's still a bit of an issue. But I've got to say the upgrade process was quite quick this time. It was a lot quicker than previous builds, and everything's looking rather nice on there now. And I would put it on my Surface Pro 3, apart from the fact actually I want to see what it looks like from RTM. But I suspect, we talked about it as being a cumulative update through Windows Update, which I think is what it's going to be. But I think it'll do the whole reboot and upgrade process, won't it? It won't just be like applying upgrades 1 of 29 or whatever, and then a reboot, and then applying upgrades 1 of 29 and then done. I think it'll actually do the update, reboot, and give you that upgrade screen, the one with the big circle on it.
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to get.
Yeah. I initially didn't think that was what the plan was, but I think that is now.
Yeah, I think I'm expecting a similar experience to when Windows 8.1 came out, which downloaded, albeit through sorry, hang on, let me think.
Yeah, through the store,
yeah, it came through the store, but also then via Windows Update. I think you opted into it through the store, but it came via Windows Update, and that was like at the time a kind of full build install. So yeah, I think I hope they can move away from that, because I don't think people would necessarily want to see those types of screens every time. But
twice a year, I think would be fine.
Yeah, possibly. I would just like to maybe see a more service pack style installation process.
But even on the service, on the old service packs, you did get that kind of big, long upgrade process, didn't you?
Yes, yeah. Just I guess it just feels less invasive than going to that black screen with. But yeah, I mean, like you say, people are used to it from upgrading iPads and whatnot. So
I hope when I do the final build that the black screen says something more than we've got some exciting changes for you, and doesn't tell you what they are.
Yeah,
I think that is the final UI.
Yeah, it is actually, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah, but it would be nice. Yeah.
It would be really nice if it said something other than that.
Because there are some good features in it.
Yeah, it's it's somewhat because I think that would make that whole bit more tolerable if you actually had some information being shown to you at that point.
But do you remember the old Windows XP installation screen used to list all the features and things?
Yeah, it was really cool. So I think it's a lot of effort for them to do that, though. And there's also all the branding stuff, and you have to go through so many hoops to get that sort of stuff out. So I can kind of understand why they didn't, but it would have been nice.
And it's probably just a few small image files, isn't it, that it's cycling through?
Yeah. Well, I think it's a text on that bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's,
I think to make me feel real at home, they should have a Spectrum loading sound in the background.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah, I think that would be really nice. So, well, I have to say this build is working really well. They seem to have cured the issues that they had with the previous reel. Apart from, I think the one thing is the issue with the Skype thing, but I've never seen that on my machine. The Skype usernames. I think, Jason, you had that on the previous build, didn't you?
Yeah.
Skype contacts, but I didn't see that on mine as well.
I think there's still some background audio things. That's about the only thing which is bugging me still. With you close, you minimise things down, and the audio disappears.
Oh, right, yeah. They fixed the the sound dims while you're listening to music where you get a notification. I noticed that.
Yeah, but when you actually minimise something, it cuts the audio out, and that's the only thing I can see is problem. Although it doesn't do it on Groove Music now, which is obviously much better. But I think the Skype thing still does it. So, but that may be a fix they can do in the Skype video app rather than actually in the operating system.
But it does look really good. I actually went through and did a video of all the changes, because obviously all the changes have been spread throughout all the different releases. So I haven't got one video with all the new changes in. So I recorded that yesterday. So I'll put that out when the update goes live. But yeah, I think when you see them all together, you see actually it's quite a good update, especially the little things like the 4 columns on the starts menu and the color tweaks and just the little things like that make a difference. And of course, you got the new messaging apps, and of course, what I was mentioning before about the edge casting, which is working really well. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but you can use the edge casting to send Groove Music to a DLNA player, because I know we talked about the fact that Groove itself can't DLNA, which is a bit weird.
So I was giving them hell over that that's the only thing I was moaning about. But
if you go on to music.microsoft.com, it says do you want to use the app because it detects you're on Windows 10, so say no. Just carry on using the browser, and then you can use that cast. And I got that to Windows Media Player, got that to my TV, and that worked fine. I also got podcasts working as well. So if you want to listen to the TDL podcast and onto your TV or Xbox or whatever, that works through the browser as well. So I think the edge casting from being unusable when they first released it is actually really good now, and that's a brand new feature. And of course, we've got the syncing of reading lists and favorites, which is good.
Yeah, lots of improvements. I mean, it's definitely a much better operating system now.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point about this. I mean, if you actually look at this this change, it's almost sort of the same level of change as 8 to 8.1. It's not quite, but it's not a new operating system. It's the same operating system. It's just a service pack, a servicing going out, not even a service pack. So yeah, Windows as a service. It's what they promised.
Yeah, and I say it works. It works quite well. So I'm ready to get it going, but I think I'll just hang fire on that one. Mm-hmm. I also recorded a video about how to do the DLNA streaming as well, and some steps, but I'll release that once the update is public as well, so that people can try it. And if you're interested in looking at the BBC Store app and you don't have access to it, you can, or you just want to have a see what it looks like before you get the app, you can see my video of that as well.
Cool.
You mentioned earlier on, Jason, about the Xbox dashboard. So that's this week, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it's been announced by Major Nelson that comes out on the 12th of November, which, as I mentioned, the Surface Pro 4 launched on that day in the UK as well. So I think I don't know if that day holds any significance for Microsoft, but there certainly seems to be a lot going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's on the preview program. We've probably got that build already. That will ship out on the 12th. And that obviously includes one of the biggest features which we've had for a while, which is the backwards compatibility. So the Xbox 360 emulation mode, and they announced about 104 games, which seemed to be quite varied in what they were. I was quite pleased to see a couple of Lego games and some of the older games that I've got, which will come. So yeah, that will also go out to everyone.
So so say my kids have got the Star Wars Lego game and it's on the list. I don't know if this is a Star Wars one, but they've got a game that's on the list. So they've got the physical disc of the Xbox 360 game. Can they just put that in the Xbox One?
Yes, they should be able to. So if you bought the game digitally, it just appears in the ready to download. And I believe it's going back a while, but I think I read something that Major Nelson written that basically you put the Xbox 360 disc in, but you would need to then you put the disc in each time you want to play the game.
Yeah.
Which is similar to the way disc-based Xbox One games work.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, how it worked on 360. So, but I think it's a nice upgrade. I mean, my kids when they got the Xbox One, they actually sold a lot of their Xbox 360 games. So I'm not sure how many they've got left, but I think the ones that they did keep must be ones that they like. And so if they are on the list, then they'll be pleased with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was by popular demand, wasn't it? Effectively, they did some
Mm.
surveying to see what people wanted, and then they put them in the popularity order and selected those ones where they could. I know there's some technical issues why some of them aren't coming across, but yeah, that seems to be the right move.
One other thing that's new with the new experience on the Xbox One is the One Guide's had quite a few tweaks and changes. I don't know if you've seen it, tried this.
Sorry, say that again, Im.
Yeah, One Guide's had quite a few changes to it in the new Xbox One experience.
Yeah, it's not something, an area of the Xbox I've ever really gone into other than when it first came out to kind of have a look around. We haven't got our TV set-top box plug connected to the Xbox One, and we haven't got the tuner, so it's not something I've really seen to see any contrast. But I saw you got a post on it.
Yeah, so yeah, because I didn't really think too much about it, and then so a couple of people asked me to sort of talk about what's new in it. So I did do a quick video of it. I'm really, there's a beginning of the integration between the other apps and the One Guide. So I've got my TV. I've got a digital TV tuner plugged into the Xbox now, so I haven't got my set-top box to it. So you get the One Guide with all the tuner, all the TV channels on there, but you also get links. If you go to the same movies, it'll show you movies that are available in the Movies and TV app. Right. And I think what they're supposed to be doing is linking into other apps so you can sort of pull together in one place. But it's kind of a bit of an odd mix at the moment. There's Movies and TV, there's YouTube Movies, which is just like a separate section of YouTube Movies, and Blinkbox, but not Netflix or any of the other movie services. So I think there's a bit of integration to be done there. But you can see the beginnings of how these things are linked together. I mean, there's quite a nice Netflix banner on the when you go to the One Guide page now that shows you new shows coming on Netflix, which I thought was quite good. And it said X-Files. Oh, excellent! I'll watch that because I know it was only available on the US version of Netflix for a while. Anyway, it takes you to that, opens up Netflix and says, "Sorry, this is not available in your region." So a little bit disappointed with that, but I think it's just the start of the integration between the apps and the services, and maybe the final version will be different. But I have to admit, a bit like you, Jason, I don't use it very often. I use my Xbox for Netflix. I use it for movies and TV a bit, Groove quite a bit, and games. Really, that's my main areas for using it. So it's not. The One Guide itself doesn't get that much use, but if they could integrate with, say, Plex or MB or something like that, and have my own content alongside Netflix, alongside broadcast TV, then I might use it a bit more.
Yeah, I must admit, I was actually thinking about buying a I don't know if you've got experience with these, but a HDMI splitter, so I could actually split our set-top box so that it's connected directly to the TV and to the Xbox. And so I could use it. I tried it once before. My wife found it frustrating. I think at the time it wasn't necessarily very reliable. We found that you had to make sure the Xbox One was on before you turned the set-top box on.
It gets very confusing with the control signals because of the different audios. You're almost better actually having a switch rather than a splitter.
Right, yeah, which I wouldn't necessarily want to mess around with in case it didn't work.
Yeah, I found the exact same with you. I put the Skybox through the Xbox One, and while it worked okay for me, I did see some slight degrading in the color quality, although they did fix that in an update at some point during the process. But it has that level of complexity that it was okay for me, but for the rest of the family, it was sort of one thing too far, really.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I was thinking about doing it with the kind of split output, so that I could use it if I wanted to. But
yeah,
you can get auto switches which work depending which one goes on. Is switched on last, effectively. So
yeah, I can just see myself.
Know what's going to happen
there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the kids have had the Xbox One on, not switched it off, and then my wife can't figure out why she can't get the TV. Don't want to go down that road.
No, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, you can, of course, get part of the experience by you can plug it in, do the setup, let it configure everything, so you get One Guide set up, and then just plug it back in the other way. So you still get one guide, but you don't get the TV channel switching, but you can still browse the guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ours is still set up from when I tried it the first time. But yeah.
I mean, that's one thing with having the digital TV tuner that is in there. So if we're recording two things on Skybox, then and we want to watch a third thing and it's on terrestrial, then we'll just switch over and use the Xbox. But that's something that I would generally do. No one else would bother doing. They'd just cancel my recording. Whatever my show is, it get cancelled. So anyway, that video's, I'll include a link for the video, and that should be out as the show goes out. So we'll see what happens with that and see whether there's any new features in there. So while we were mentioning about names, while we're talking about the Windows 10 update, did you see that when you do a Windows update for on the Insider build, it's listed as Windows 10 version 15.11?
I hadn't noticed that, but that makes sense. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and the about box does as well.
Yeah, I think that popped up in one of the previous builds, and also I noticed today when I got my email from Microsoft about Patch Tuesday that a lot of the vulnerabilities were listed and showed different versions of Windows and included Windows 10 version 15.11.
Yeah, now I said, and I put on Twitter, I really hate that name, and Scott's a fool, said, well, why? But I don't know, what do you think? I mean, it's not really a name, is it? But I really just hope that's not the public name. Or do you think they'll even announce a public name? Because we know they hate talking about versions and things like that. Will there be a public name?
Yeah. There is a public name. It's called Windows 10.
True.
That's the public name.
Yeah. I mean, I think there will be a name. I might even know there may be a name, but I won't say if I do. But I'm not sure it's a name anybody's heard yet.
We like it when it's Gary's cryptic.
I have to be cryptic.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of support, there has to be some way for them to differentiate, doesn't there? And obviously, so there probably would be, but I think generally speaking, I think officially they'll probably just refer to it as Windows 10, and they'll always talk about it as Windows 10.
Yeah, I think
because the updates are forced, so everyone should eventually pretty much relatively closely all end up on the same version.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, I've seen the names sort of, Windows 10 Fall update bandied about and things like that. I don't particularly like that because it only means something if you're in North America. But once something's like that's picked and set in stone, then people get used to it. So it's not really a problem. I mean, November update would be okay. Although then you'd have to call it November 2015 update because to differentiate it from an update out next year. Update 1 would be fine if they wanted to call it update 1 or something like that. So there's plenty of options. It's just I just don't want it to be called Windows 10 version 1511.
Yeah.
Because that's go ahead.
Back to what we were talking about earlier about whether or not 10.586 is the actual official build. Actually, I've just noticed under activation, mine used to say Windows 10 inside preview, and its activation was Windows preview, but actually it now just says Windows 10 Pro, and activation is Windows is activated. So I think this is definitely it. But yes, I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do refer to it as. I'm sure there probably will be some kind of a name, maybe the Windows 10 Windows Media Audio Edition.
That'd be cool.
I was trying to remember, Gary. Can you remember what the one of the TV packs had a really long name, didn't it? It was something like Windows Media Center 2006 TV pack, Service Pack 1 or something like that.
Something like that.
With TV, I remember it had the with TV
pack. Yeah, with TV pack. A Service Pack 1 with TV pack or something like that. I can't remember. Code name something or other.
Yeah, it was Windows XP Media Center Edition 2005 with TV pack. I think that was the full name of it, something like that.
Update with TV pack.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So maybe they'll go for something simple like that.
Yeah, probably. I couldn't possibly comment.
Yes, that's the name. Gary knows. That's the name.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's still something. No,
Windows 10 Media Center Edition.
no, that would be cool. I didn't actually think about tweeting that when I gave phone, but that would
We've blown the internet up.
that would have blown it.
So, is anything else you saw when you were out there, Gary? All right, Future Decoded, that you can tell us about?
Yeah, you can talk about.
Well, I had a really good demo today of the what's it called? Surface Hub.
Oh yeah, the big.
Yeah, so as the guy described it, it's basically a bigger Surface Pro 4 we've nailed on the wall. But actually, it's a lot more than that. And actually, that was really impressive. The way that worked, the speed of it, the how easy it was to set up a conference on it, and how easy it was to share. And I particularly like the fact it's a Miracast receiver controller, so you can actually send Miracast to it from, say, a Surface Pro 4, and actually control that Surface Pro 4 from the screen.
Right.
Which is really clever. I like that.
I haven't seen that with Miracast. I've never seen that one-way thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, because that's part of the newer Miracast standard. So I thought that was really clever. Yeah, fidelity is not brilliant because Miracast hasn't got the best fidelity in the world yet. But I know the Miracast Peak Consortium is working on that as well. So I think that things are going to get better in that respect.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that well, it wasn't the one we saw at the Windows 10 launch. That was not the Surface Hub. It was the one prior to that, wasn't it?
This is the first time Surface Hubs. They had two of them, and it's the first time they've been in the country. So yeah, I was quite impressed with that. That definitely was really good. Had a bit more information on HoloLens. That was just basically saying that the UK will be able to order the developer kit, because at the moment you can't. So that's good to see. Obviously played a lot with Continuum today. That's really good. Had it confirmed it only runs one screen on the Continuum dock from the phone.
Yeah.
I think technically that the way those docks work, they probably could support more than one screen, but I suspect that's a limitation of the phone. Obviously, effectively you are using two screens already, because you've got the phone screen separately to the Continuum screen. So that was good. Mostly today it's been a lot about the cloud, lots about how things are. Sort of look really good Internet of Things demo, talking about business Internet of Things. Apparently one of the biggest uses of Internet of Thing technology on Azure at the moment is monitoring toilet rolls. for a building services company, which gets paid by the number of toilet rolls that it replaces, so it really wants to know when they run out. but that's the whole point of the whole IoT's been talked about a lot as a home automation consumer thing, but its biggest implementation is going to be out there in the business world. We're going to see monitoring of everything basically going on.
And did they announce a new data center is going to be UK based?
Yep, that's the other thing. Yeah, I was just going to come on to that. There was going to be a Azure base, well, a Microsoft data center in the UK. They finished the expansion of the Irish one, so that's up to full capacity now. Well, full capacity for now. They'll probably expand it again. But the fact they're actually going for a UK one, obviously there's been some other announcements from competitors this week last week about UK centers, but I think that was probably in the wind before that. So that was going to be next year. So I think that's compliance with the UK government things. It was interesting that they had a guy from the MOD talking about the defence industry's strategies, and he mentioned the fact that they were going to, because Microsoft were opening this UK data centre, they'd be able to use it. So there's a lot of things going on there, but obviously the big push on Azure. It was a business day today, so there was a lot of business out there. Some really interesting stuff, but primarily business. It was interesting, actually, some of the business adoption out there. We had a guy from BT talking about their internal apps they're going to use for data collection, and they've decided to go the universal app route, and actually have the same app on their desktops as they've got for the guys out in the field with mobile phones, and they are going to go Windows 10 phone. So that was quite an interesting endorsement of that strategy.
Yeah, which I think is just what the universal platform needs, success stories like that, and the BBC app and things like that.
Yeah. I think there were a few today of people very much going with it. So we had people like Virgin Atlantic there showing off some stuff they've done. So they've actually got a VR demo using some Microsoft technology, but not HoloLens yet. I'm not quite sure what they're using, but it was a really good demo of what the upper class experience is like. So they can show their salespeople can show you what you'd get by upgrading. But it was really clever.
Oh, is that using some kind of? I think it's like screen splitting on your eyes, like Google Cardboard, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's very much that approach, and it worked. It definitely worked.
Oh, it sounds good then. So there was a few app updates as well to wrap up with. So the movies and TV team have been busy. You can now have text-based subtitles, which I know will make a lot of people happy.
So SRT files.
Yeah.
Addendum to the book, I think.
Yes.
As the book is now with printers, I believe.
Yeah. And the Groove app itself, the music app, has been improved with sort of the that was just tonight. They've announced sort of live tile tweaks and a few UI changes. You can remove items from your history.
Yes, which is quite good, I guess.
Well, as I said in the post, you can remove your embarrassing Wham songs from the recent played.
Yeah. Probably more useful on the video and TV.
Yes, on the Xbox. Yeah, when you're watching it in the family. Yes.
So, but interesting on that one. One of the things which apparently feedback-wise they've had is that people weren't able to spot the Groove icon when it had the album art on it. So they often missed that music tile. So they've actually got the Groove logo on there now, which I'm not sure I like, but it's
understand why they've done that. Yeah, that's looks quite good. And I don't know that we've lost Jason, so we'll try and get Jason back. But the Sonos have released the TruePlay for their iOS app. So I've been playing with this on the beta version. If you don't you've seen this, but I'm just reviewing the new Play 5, and that's got the Sonos app with it, and on the iOS, the updated Sonos. And basically, it samples the audio in your room, very much like an audio receiver does when you do a first.
So it's room acoustics, basically.
Yeah, and you walk around the room with your iPad, waving it up and down as a sound comes out of the Sonos, and then it configures it. Now, to be fair, I didn't see a huge amount of change. I had it in the Sonos Play 5 here in my room, in my office, and it sounds fantastic. So I didn't really see a huge amount of change, but I guess it would do if you've got in a bad sort of environment of it.
Yeah, a lot of hard surfaces you might want to see.
Yeah.
Reduction of reflections. Also, if you had the separate subwoofer and things like that, they might well.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be
as well. So I think that's great. I think the loss of Audible books is causing some consternation on.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, and I think that's could be coming back though. I can at some point.
Well, there seem to be lots of.
I suppose it's Amazon, isn't it? And
yeah, so there's been a lot of things about dropping Audible support. So I'm not sure if they're asking for too much money at the moment or what, but it's unfortunate because it would be nice to see that stay. Because that's one. I'm a couple of people I know. I haven't got Sonos, but I know a couple of people have, and they both they use it to listen to audiobooks. So it would be nice to have that around.
Yeah, I mean it is good for that. But I love this Play 5. I'm very sad to see it go bad. It's got an amazing sound. I was listening to Dark Side of the Moon on it, and the clarity of something like Money, where you can hear the individual instruments. That's what I really like. I hate that muddy mid-range on audio.
Yeah,
and it's really nice for that. And of course, it's very simple and all just works in the Sonos way.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned, but we had the Fascinating Tech. We've had the Entotem. My brain's gone. Plato. Unit to play with it, and I was playing Money on that, and the even on some pretty ropey speakers, the clarity on that was amazing in terms of again hearing all those individual bits and dynamics as well. So I mean that's definitely a good test track.
It's always my favourite.
Yeah.
And there has been some other things that will include in the show notes. New versions of MB and Plex have updated their apps as well. So it's good to see them continue to support the platform.
I was chatting to Scott Lovegrove out in America. He's very excited that we've got a mention of his products in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. And next couple of weeks we should have an official date and everything else. So we'll mention that on the show. Don't fear.
Yeah, we'll do that. So it was quite funny actually at the MVB conference, because there was obviously developers for MB, and also like the developers for Plex out there. So MB Plex,
I'm back.
You're back.
Hey, Jace.
I was at how stable that build was there. Skype completely crashed on me.
Yeah.
Well, we were just wrapping up. I just talked about the Sonos True Play. Don't you've tried? You've got an iPad to give that a try.
And we have got an iPad, so yes, I will be giving that a try.
I was saying to Gary, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference really on a normal room like mine, but that Play 5 I've got for review is absolutely amazing sound. But yes,
I'm quite envious of that. That Play 5 looks really nice.
Yeah, it's just I've got to send it back, unfortunately, but I've really enjoyed having that. But Gary was just finishing off. We were just finishing off. He was saying about the Plex and MB developers over in Redmond on the MVP.
Yes, yeah. So we could have had a Plex MV5, but they actually got on reasonably well.
Both which are available in the book.
Yes.
Detailed chapters in the book. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have some more details on that. Next week we might be talking about the final version of, or we might have the name of the Windows 10 update, the fall update, the 1511 update, or whatever we would say it's going to be called.
That's a good name. I like that name.
Yeah, I like it. So we'll see what that is. So what have you got on Fascinating Tech at the moment?
Well, so I got the just before I went away from my MV trip, published the full EFA special. It's got a whole lot on EFA, and it's got the bit with me jumping up and down on the trampoline with outtakes. Testing headphones, so it's well worth a visit for that. And there's a really good competition.
Just imagine.
So what? Just remind us your Twitter.
So I'm at Gary with 2 R's WMA.
Excellent stuff. Jason, where can we find you?
On Twitter at Database Chase. And
how's your VMs going? Got all updated?
Yes, they're all updated, all sitting pretty, and I noticed the actual version number has changed. So my virtual machines were configuration 6.2, and they're now upgraded to configuration 7.0, which I think introduces the nested hypervisor and things like that.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, of course, that's part of the update as well. So next week we may have new build to play with for phones. We'll certainly be talking Windows 10 desktop and the update for that. And we'll be back 9 o'clock UK time Tuesday evening for the live recording, and we'll see you on the podcast and everywhere else. So thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Brilliant. Take care, guys.
Yeah. Cheerio. Bye-bye.